All right, everybody. Sorry if it gets shaky. I apologize. So we are going to, this is really just for ground pounder, and see if we can't get him situated out with his grinder. Now, it's been a long time since I've done a live. I think I've done one or two before. So here's what we got here. Now, this is a no-name brand. Maybe we'll start to see when people show up. Maybe I can get this a little closer and we can see what we got. So here's what we got here. We're going to go into the bag of goodies right here. This is how I do it. This is how I've been taught for many, many, many moons by generations of people that have ran and operated still service shops, dealers. So first thing I do is I like to clean off my rails here. So I just take a wire brush, any kind of brush, as long as it gets clean. Yeah, I haven't sharpened a chain in this for a while. I like to hand file. But when I have a whole bunch of chains to deal, then I do this. So this is a knockoff version of an organ grinder. I prefer steel grinders. Okay. So one of the first things we're going to do, I'm tightening down here. I'll kind of try to show you a little bit. So this, sorry for the shaky, got to do my tripod. So down here, we'll kind of drop you down a little bit. So down here this is how you rotate it. This is a knockoff version. I bought this when I first was opening up the shop, and well, I didn't have money to buy my preferred method of a grinder. What's up? So here's what we're gonna do. So one of the first things I like to do is when I get my chain is I like to find the most damage. Okay, as a customer that pays. Now, some of you folk will be like, oh, that's a perfectly fine tooth. It can be sharpened. So when you start looking at it, let me get a pointing device. I should have in my drawer of goodies here. I'm going to use a little tiny file. So you see this nice damage right here. I'm going to rest my hand right here. See that damage right here? I don't know how good visible it is. You can see it really good on my end, but it goes down to about right there. So I'm going to have to grind all that off to get a good clean sharpen. So this was one of my personal saws chains. You always want to, when you get a new chain or a new grinder, new setup, always want to practice it to see what we're going to be working with. Now, most people will go what their recommended chain says. Now, still they recommend when they're using your grinder, you can base it off the chain itself. But the best way to do is 60 on this top angle. So this angle, 60 degrees. And then this one, 30 degrees. Now, organ's different. Every manufacturer's a little different. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this set up and get going. So this one, you can have you got 3 different angles to set up on. You can take this and tilt it, which will change your geometry of your tooth. Hey, everybody say hi. I'm not sure what's going on my chat. If you can chat it up and let me know you're in here so I can see and say hi. I don't really care about thumbs up, so people that thumbs up, great. If you don't like it, well, then leave. I'm sorry. This is really specific for people that need to know and want to know how to use their grinders. So when I'm talking about geometry of the tooth, it changes the inside bevel right there. That inside angle right there, that inside angle, it will change the way that looks if you use the tilt method on this. Which organs they say to do it. I like to do it on some chains. I don't know. It's kind of a personal preference on most parts. So we'll hurry and get some going. Let's see here. Right. Sorry. So we're going to get on this. I found this is a bad chain, so we're not going to do much to it. We're going to set it up. So I've got a tooth in here. Flip over my cool little chain tensioner. So because this is a knockoff, it's going to be different. So I check where my grinder sits. See how that's going to, probably can't see it, but it's going to hit that tooth really hard, and we don't want to do that. So we're going to back off this. Give it a good tug. And so it's still going to hit it. I'm going to back it off a little bit more. Now it's going to hit the raker. So I'm going to go down. I'm going to set my depth. So that's this knob right here. I'm going to back it out or take it in just a hair. So it just comes up a little bit. Now you're going to have some flex on this when you go down, okay? So that is the wrong side, but it's okay. So we're gonna switch sides. I apologize. So we're gonna go like, I'm gonna find one that I've worked on. You always want to find a chain that doesn't have any kind of use to you. Really crappy chain that's been rocked hard, beat the crap out of, whatever. So I'm going to redo everything. See, just by changing your tooth direction, it changes your whole entire setup. So I'm going to sit here and do this until it hits my tooth. I'm going to adjust this again till it comes up a little bit. Now I'm going to tighten my knob to tighten the chain up, and see, sometimes it will just sit there and lift up the chain. You want to make sure your chain sits flat to the bottom. And now that being said, I'm going to turn this bad boy on. Sorry if it gets loud. And where's my button? Button, where's the button? So I'm not getting enough tooth. So I'm going to adjust this. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to adjust it. Okay, so I just did a quick little cover on it. Now, you look inside that tooth. Let's see here, there it is. You can look right at the very tip at that working corner. It looks to me that there's a little dead spot right there. It's darker than the rest, okay? And so you look at your side profile. Okay, it's a little more aggressive than I would like. So we can do one or two things. We can just run with it, or we can dress the stone. And so this is going to be a super aggressive chain, cutting chain. Super, super aggressive. So let me finish getting it to the distance that I want. Get all that tooth ground down to where it needs to be. Hi, wifey. Give me a little bit more distance there. Okay, so I just did that again. You don't want to spend too much time working on that, because this is going to be production work, right? We're working on getting customers chain's up and going, okay? See that tooth? Okay, so it's going to be super aggressive. So let's find out why it's going to be super aggressive. I got into the driver just a little bit, which we don't want to do. Everybody says that's fine, but technically if you want to go to organ standards and steel standards, it is not okay. So we did that. So let's turn this bad boy off. Once I find my on and off, get back into my drawer of goodies. Nope. So they all come with these cool little things. This is the fastest, easiest way to set it up. Okay, this is how you dress your stone. So you get this in here, you find which one it is, you look at your stone, at your gauge right here, and it shows, oh, I need to make it more round. It is definitely making it more aggressive. So we change that. Now there's two ways you can address your stone. There's a whole bunch of ways to do it. One of the best ways that I like to do it, because I like to custom grind my own stuff, you get these cool little carbide or diamond teeth little dressers, and you'll just, okay? Or most grinders come with a dressing stone. You just, okay? So that being said, now I'm going to show you what the tilt does, okay? So we got a picture of that again. See that tooth? The angle of that cutting tooth is going to be, let's see here, this is all back asswards to me. Right there we go. So that's the way the tooth looks. Now we're going to set this in here and we're going to change the tilt, okay? Not every grinder has the tilt. Some of them have a slide that slides this piece forward and backwards. I think it's 20 degrees back and 20 degrees forward. Now, if you have that one, you'll want to go 10 degrees back on one side, 10 degrees forward on the other side. And that way, it actually centers your grinding wheel the proper distance to your tooth. So I'm going to loosen this up. I've had to do a lot of modifications to this one to make it work. So I just did it. I think it's a 10-degree tilt. Tighten that back up. Nice and tight so it doesn't want to jiggle around. I'm going to stand up for this. I'm going to check my angle. It's off a little bit because every time you do something, it's changing the geometry of the tooth. Okay, that's what's really important. Every time you make a move, you got to make sure, you got to try to make sure you accommodate your angles that you've just done. So I'm high, so I'm going to adjust it a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to start this bad boy up. Okay, now I'm going to give it a little test. So I'm not got quite as much. I'm actually going to, I might have a marker in here. Marker. No marker. I got a marker right here. So I'm going to open this up again. We're going to mark this up right here. So it's that tooth right here. I'm going to color this tooth so we can see it grind. Because a lot of people will go, oh, I just did it. It's all great and fine and dandy. Well, you've just changed all your everything up, so it's not fine and dandy. So set it up like that. Hit your grinder. You don't want to dwell. That is like number one no is changing it up. If you sit there and dwell with it, it's going to wreak havoc on your tooth. So see, nothing there. Well, let's do some adjusting here. Okay, so we're going to go in just a little bit with it. Okay, tighten it down. Okay, so now look at that. I have changed completely the geometry of that inside part of the tooth. I don't know if you can really see it. I'm sorry. So we're going to adjust it a little bit more. But if you look at the side plate, it looks a lot better. It's less aggressive. Okay, so we're going to sit down. We're going to do a little bit more adjusting on it. Go like that. Okay, I'm going to flip it up. All right, so there we go. Now, that tooth is good and ready to go. Just change that whole entire geometry of that tooth. So, and another thing that I have, which a lot of people don't have, it's called Cool Grind, okay? Kool grind. There we go. It's a lubricant and it keeps your everything nice and cool. Okay, so we got that one. Now we're gonna go and switch sides to the other side. So this was the left-hand cutter. Might look right-hand cutter to you. So I'm gonna shut off the machine. Now, if you guys do have questions, please, please, please ask. I'm going to flip that back that way. And because I've had to do some redneck ingenuity from the College of Redneck Ingenuity, I had to screw this in. And I drilled holes so it wouldn't creep past the degrees I want. So now we switched. This is the important part. Now you switched sides and you think you're ready to go grind away. Now, that is 100% not a no-no to do, because every time you change something, it's going to change the direction of your tooth. It's going to change how your tooth is grinding, how your everything. So test it. So, oh, it looks like I can start right there on this tooth. Remember, this is a crappy chain for me. This is a test chain. This is not a customer's chain. It's not a chain that I would run on my own saw. This is a chain that I destroyed years and years ago. So another thing to do is always watch your holder, okay? Make sure you can adjust it in and out like that. So this is kind of a... It's a crappy grinder, I'm not gonna lie. Start it up. So I'm looking at my tooth to see where everything's at. So I'm gonna take this off. I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna look at the side plate. See that side plate? That is a gorgeous side plate. Okay, right there, makes a nice little round. See right there, I could go a little deeper, but we're gonna leave that one as is. So now here's the really important part. This is just for machine grinding. So you take your one cutter in one hand and you take your other chain and you line up your teeth right there, okay? So this is a bad tooth, okay? So we'll go to a tooth that looks like I have grounded before. Maybe. I don't know if I can find one. Oh well. But you'll get the gist of it. You'll line up the bottom of the tooth. Okay, see how much tooth I have to take off? Now, everybody's going to be like, Oh, you don't need to do that. You can just file each one separately. Yes, hand filing. You'll want, it doesn't matter because you're going to individually set your raker with the raker gauge. Now, every other person in the world, any other shop, usually has two grinders. One grinder to do the tooth, one grinder to do the rakers. And the reason you want to make them all even is so when you set your raker, that you can just go all the way around, okay? Now, there is a margin of error that you don't get with a hand file or round file, whatever the crap you want to call it. There's a margin of error that you get with a grinder that you don't get with a thing. So as you grind with the wheel, you're going to lose shape and you're going to lose size of the diameter of the chain. There are certain chain wheels out there that are like a bromines, or something like that. They're really expensive. They're ridiculously expensive. A couple $100 a piece. They outlast these probably, I'd like to say, like, you could probably get 8 or 9 wheels out of just from one. So an 8-to-1 difference, which is really big in a production thing. So there's not much to it. So I'm going to take my cool little tool here. I'm going to take my cool little grinder, dressing wheel. Now I've got what you call cool grind on here, so it's going to look kind of, it doesn't look clean. So we're going to go like this. Turn on the machine. Take your grinding tool, your dressing tool, and that's all you do. Now, see all that black crap that's coming off here? That is the cool grind, okay? That's what's keeping it cool. So, when you really dress a stone, you got to get through all that. Okay, so now I'm going to shut it off. All right. Now I'm going to stick this up in here like that. I'm going to look at my wheel because this gives you the shape that you want for your wheel. Now this is strictly for someone that doesn't want to do custom grinding, custom anything for your own stuff. This is all for production. So I'm going to take you over here. I'm going to move you guys over here just a little bit so you can see a little bit better. And sorry, the shaky. There we go. That should be a little better. So this is strictly for, how do I say this? Newbies, people that's strictly wanting to keep something. So this is the one you're going to want to do. See how it fits inside there? Very nice. There's a little gap on this side, which is okay. Okay. This side doesn't really matter so much because that is not your grinding. That's going to hit your gullet, the very bottom piece of your tooth. Okay. So there's this, just like this. Now, I'm going to demonstrate for the sole purpose of YouTube's. We're going to use this. Okay. It's going to take off a lot of material all at one time. I'm going to go like this. Okay, so now I'm going to shut this off again. Now these are really good to freehand your dressing your stone. This is how you really can tune in your own chains, how you really want them. This is how you can do all that is with this. This makes it really good tool. Is it a tool for beginners? Absolutely not. You can really destroy a wheel with this real quick. This is the tool that you'll want to do it. And another thing is you don't want to chintz out. I'm going to do this and I'm going to destroy this wheel real quick. Okay, I'm not going to destroy the whole thing. You see what it did there? Hey, Mommy, you know the little girl's out. Say hi to everybody. Okay, so if you look, you can see a nice little groove right there. Now I can fix that. That's simple. That's an easy fix. But you see how fast it took for it to go? Now, we're going to move away from this a little bit. We're going to come talk about some of the other tools that we have as a sharpener that you do. Okay, so quality wheels, okay? These are organ wheels. I prefer steel wheels, but that's just me. They come in different grits, okay? So these are the cheap wheels that I got with the grinder. They are worthless pieces of junk. They're not balanced. An unbalanced wheel sucks. So if you have to change out your wheels, you want to mark the face which face was in or out. So then when you put it back in, you know where it's at, because you'll start losing balance. Then you start screwing up your chains. These are just all garbage. They came with this knockoff grinder, okay? And see, you get all this weird, material in here. It's not very clean at all. Some of the things that we look at as a sharpener, as you can see, I've got a whole bunch. I don't know if you can see them, but I got a whole bunch of stuff. When you're doing chains, you want to look at your bar too. You got your bar dresser, very important to have. Raker gauge. So this is a 30 thousandths raker gauge. Okay, I try to keep mine about 25 thousandths. So keep that handy. So when you set your file to your raker gauge, I always set raker gauge with the file. I always set it the first one when I switch out. If you switch out to the raker stone, I always set the first one, okay, with the file. Then I set my depth with that. There's a lot to be asked, but Mr. GP's not on here, and if he is, he's not talking. Hopefully I'll post this also as a video, and we will hopefully get some more questions so I can answer them later. Peace out. If I know how to stop this thing. Off.